Commander Eric Walsh looked out the large window of the bridge on his ship, the EES Discovery. The stars stretched out before him, countless tiny dots of light against the darkness of space. His ship had been traveling through the Epsilon Eridani system for 3 weeks now. So far they had found nothing special. Just empty planets, some rocks, and a lot of space dust. "Commander, you might want to see this," called Lisa Morgan from her station. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen in front of her. "We're picking up some strange energy readings from the 4th planet." Eric walked over to her station and looked at the screen. The readings were unlike anything he had seen before. They showed patterns that could only come from artificial sources. Something or someone was making those energy waves. "How did we miss this before?" Eric asked, his voice quiet but firm. "The readings are very faint, sir," answered Lisa. "Our sensors only caught them when we adjusted our scan pattern." Eric nodded and turned to the ship's pilot, Jack Peters. "Take us closer to the 4th planet, slow and steady." As they approached the planet, the entire crew grew more excited. It had been years since humans had found signs of alien life. Most missions ended with nothing but rocks and gas to show for months of travel. "I'm getting a clearer reading now," said Lisa after they had moved closer. "There appears to be some kind of structure in orbit around the planet." The main screen on the bridge changed to show what their sensors were detecting. There, hanging in space, was what looked like a space station. It was unlike any human design. The station had long, curved sections that spiraled around a central core. Parts of it glowed with soft blue light. "It's beautiful," whispered Karen Young, the ship's doctor who had come to the bridge after hearing about the discovery. "And it's active," added Lisa. "There are energy signatures all over it. Whatever this is, it's still working." Eric felt his heart race. This was what every explorer dreamed of finding. "Can we establish contact?" he asked. Lisa, who specialized in languages and communication, moved to a different station. "I'll try to send some basic greeting signals. Universal math sequences? First, then we can try more complex messages." For the next 3 hours, the crew of the Discovery sent various signals to the alien station. They waited anxiously for any response. Eric had ordered the ship to maintain a safe distance. They didn't know if whoever built the station would be friendly. Finally, a signal came back. "We're receiving something," Lisa called out. The entire bridge crew turned to look at her. Wait, this can't be right. What is it?" Eric asked, moving to her side. "The signal pattern. It has similarities to ancient Earth languages. Specifically, it resembles Sumerian patterns." "That's impossible. How would aliens know anything about Earth languages?" Eric frowned. Could it be a coincidence? "The mathematical probability of that is extremely low," said Paul Davis, the ship's science officer. "The pattern matches are too specific." Lisa worked quickly at her station. "I'm going to try to adapt our translation program using Sumerian as a base. It might help us understand what they're saying." As Lisa worked, the alien station sent more signals. With each new transmission, she adjusted her program. After an hour, she looked up with wide eyes. "I think I can understand parts of what they're saying now. They're asking who we are and where we come from." Eric took a deep breath. "Send them a simple response. Tell them we are humans from Earth and we come in peace." Lisa sent the message. The reply came faster this time. "They say..." Lisa paused, checking her translation. "They say they don't know Earth, but they call themselves the Anuri." Over the next few days, communication with the Anuri improved. The crew learned that the Anuri had been living in this system for thousands of years. They had records of coming from somewhere else long ago, but they had lost much of their history. Eric decided it was time to meet the Anuri face to face. A small team prepared to travel to the space station. Eric would lead the group, which included Lisa, Karen, and Paul. When they docked with the station, they were nervous. No one knew what the Anuri would look like or how they would react to humans. The airlock opened and they stepped into the station. The air was breathable, which surprised them. The inside of the station was as beautiful as the outside. Curved walls flowed into arched ceilings. Soft lights glowed from no visible source, and then they saw the Onuri. The aliens were tall and slender, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer slightly. They had 4 arms and large eyes that took up much of their faces. But despite their alien appearance, there was something familiar about them. One of the Onuri stepped forward. "Welcome, visitors from beyond. I am Elder Kira, leader of this station." Lisa translated for the team, though she was shocked that their translation program worked so well already. "Thank you for your welcome," Eric said, bowing slightly. "We are honored to meet you." Over the next few hours, the humans and Onuri shared information about their people. The Onuri were curious about Earth and humans. They asked many questions about human history and culture. When Paul showed them images of ancient Earth civilizations, the Onuri became very excited. "These buildings," Elder Kira said, pointing to pictures of Sumerian ziggurats, "they are like our sacred temples." As they continued to talk, the humans made a shocking discovery. The Onuri's oldest sacred texts described beings who had once guided their civilization. Beings who had taught them farming, building, and medicine. The texts called these beings sky guardians, and the descriptions matched humans perfectly. "Your people," Elder Kira said, looking at the humans with wonder. "You look exactly like the sky guardians from our oldest stories. They came when our ancestors were struggling to survive. They led us, taught us, saved us. Then they left, promising that one day their kind would return." The humans looked at each other in confusion. How could humans have reached this system thousands of years ago? Earth hadn't developed space travel until the late 20th century. "We have kept their teachings alive," continued Elder Kira. "We have waited for their return, and now you are here." As the Onuri led them deeper into the station, showing them ancient artifacts and texts, Eric realized they had stumbled upon a mystery that would change human understanding of their own history. Somehow, humans had been here before. Somehow, humans had led this lost civilization. And now, as the E's discovery had found the Onuri again, no one could predict what this connection would mean for both peoples. What none of them knew was that they were being watched. Far at the edge of the system, the sensors of a much larger and more advanced ship had detected the human vessel. The Galactic Veridan Empire had been observing the Onuri for decades, and they were very interested to learn why humans were here. 3 months passed quickly as the humans and Onuri learned about each other. The crew of the E's Discovery had set up a small base on the Onuri space station. Each day brought new discoveries about the strange connection between the two species. Dr. Kevin Miller, the team's historian, spent hours studying the Onuri sacred texts. The more he read, the more confused he became. The texts clearly describe humans visiting the Onuri thousands of years ago, but how was that possible? The dates in these texts suggest humans were here about 8,000 years ago. Kevin explained to Commander Eric Walsh. They sat in a small room the Onuri had given them as an office. "That's around the time of early human civilization on Earth. We had barely invented farming, let alone space travel." Eric rubbed his tired eyes. Could the texts be wrong? Maybe they're just stories, not actual history. "I thought that too at first," Kevin said. "But look at this." He showed Eric some images on his tablet. "These are detailed star maps from their oldest texts. They show Earth's solar system perfectly, including the exact position of planets as they would have appeared 8,000 years ago. The Onuri couldn't have made this up." Before Eric could respond, Lisa Morgan rushed into the room. Her face was pale. "Commander, we've detected multiple ships entering the system," she said, her voice tense. "Big ones, much bigger than the Discovery." Eric stood up quickly. "How many?" "At least 12. The largest one is about 20 times the size of our ship." Eric, Lisa, and Kevin hurried to their communication center. Jack Peters was already there, watching the sensor readings. "They're heading straight for this station," Jack said. "They'll be here in about 6 hours." Eric turned to Lisa. "Have they sent any messages?" "Not yet. But their communication systems just activated. They're scanning us," Eric thought quickly. They had no way to fight such a large fleet if they were hostile. Their best option was to try to talk, send a standard greeting, let them know we're here peacefully. An hour later, they received a response. The message was not in any human language, but it wasn't in the Inuri language either. Lisa worked with the Inuri communication experts to decode it. It's from something called the Galactic HFY, she finally said. They say they are aware of the Inuri and Earth as well. They're sending a diplomatic team to meet with both us and the Inuri leaders. Elder Kira and the other Inuri leaders seemed worried when they heard about the Empire's message. We have seen their ships before, watching from far away, Elder Kira explained, but they have never contacted us directly. This is the first time they have come so close. The humans and Inuri prepared for the meeting. Eric chose a small team to represent Earth, himself, Lisa for translation, Kevin for historical knowledge, and Karen Young as their medical expert. When the Imperial ships arrived, everyone could see how advanced they were. Their design was sleek and powerful. The main ship was enormous, with smooth curves and glowing sections that seemed to shift colors. A smaller shuttle departed from the main ship and docked with the Inuri station. The doors opened and the Imperial representatives stepped out. They were tall beings with 4 arms like the Inuri, but their skin was deep purple rather than blue. They wore elaborate uniforms with many symbols that probably showed their rank. The leader stepped forward. She was taller than the others, with sharp features and piercing yellow eyes. "I am Admiral Vora of the Galactic HFY," she said in perfect English, surprising everyone. "We have been observing this system for decades. We did not expect to find humans here." Eric stepped forward. "I am Commander Eric Walsh of the Earth Exploration Fleet. We discovered the Inuri 3 months ago and have been establishing peaceful relations." Admiral Vora looked at Eric with an expression he couldn't read. "The Empire has known about Earth for some time. We consider humans a minor species, just beginning to explore beyond their own system. Yet here you are, already established among the Inuri." The way she said it made Eric uncomfortable. There was something hidden in her words, perhaps a threat. Elder Kira spoke up. "The humans are our friends. They have come just as our sacred texts foretold. The Sky Guardians have returned?" "To us." Admiral Vora's yellow eyes widened slightly. "The Sky Guardians? You believe these humans are the beings from your ancient stories?" "They match the descriptions perfectly," Elder Kira said. The Admiral looked back at her team. One of them stepped forward with a device and scanned the humans. The device made a soft beeping noise. "Interesting," Admiral Vora said. "Very interesting indeed. Perhaps we should discuss this further. The Empire has much to share with both the Inuri and these humans." Over the next few days, meetings were held between the 3 groups. The Empire representatives were always polite, but Eric felt they were hiding something. They asked many questions about the Sky Guardians and seemed very interested in any ancient technology the Inuri might have. One night, Kevin found Eric alone in their office. "I don't trust them," Kevin said quietly. "They know more than they're telling us," Eric nodded. "I feel the same way." "Did you notice how they weren't surprised about the connection between humans and the Inuri? It's like they expected it." "There's something else," Kevin added. "I've been studying the Empire's historical information they shared with us." "There are gaps, big ones?" "They talk about their empire being 5,000 years old, but they skip over what happened before that. It's as if they're hiding part of their history." Their conversation was interrupted when Lisa entered the room. She looked worried. "The Empire has requested access to the ancient Inuri temple on the planet's surface," she said. "They say they want to study it for cultural exchange, but they're bringing a lot of equipment." "It looks more like they're planning to dig for something." Eric stood up. "We need to find out what they're really after. And we need to do it before they find whatever they're looking for." What Eric didn't know was that Admiral Vora was having her own secret meeting at that very moment. On her ship, she spoke with her senior officers. "The presence of humans here complicates things," she said. "The High Command needs to be informed immediately. If these humans discover the truth about their past, about what they once were. She paused, looking at a star map showing hundreds of systems. The balance of power in the galaxy could shift forever. Early the next morning, Eric met with Elder Kira to discuss the Empire's request to access the ancient temple. This temple is our most sacred place, Elder Kira explained as they walked through the curved hallways of the station. It was built by the Sky Guardians themselves. We only go there for our most important ceremonies. And the Empire wants to study it? Eric asked. Yes, they say they want to learn about our culture. But they are bringing many machines and tools. It seems they want to do more than just look, Eric nodded. I think we should go there first, before the Empire does. Can you take us? Elder Kira agreed, and within hours, a small ship carried them down to the planet's surface. Eric brought Lisa, Kevin, and a new member of their team, Samantha Cooper, an archaeologist who had been studying Anuri artifacts. The planet's surface was mostly desert, with some small areas of plant life. The temple stood on a hill, its tall stone walls shining in the light of the system's sun. Unlike the curved designs of the Anuri space station, the temple was built with straight lines and sharp angles. It reminded Eric of ancient Earth buildings inside. The temple was cool and dark. Light came through small openings in the ceiling, creating patterns on the stone floor. The walls were covered with carvings and symbols. Samantha moved from wall to wall, taking pictures and making notes. These symbols, she said, her voice filled with excitement. Some of them look like early Earth writing, like a mix of different ancient scripts. Kevin joined her at one of the walls. You're right. This section here looks similar to Proto-Sinaitic script from Earth, and over here, these symbols resemble ancient Chinese characters. But that's impossible, Lisa said. How could Earth writing systems be here, thousands of light years from our planet? Samantha walked to the center of the temple where a large stone table stood. The table was covered with more symbols and had 7 circular depressions in its surface. I think, she said slowly, that we've been looking at this all wrong. We assumed the Anuri were aliens who had contact with humans in the past. But what if what if the Anuri are human? Kevin finished her thought, or at least started as human. Elder Kira and the other Anuri with them looked confused. What do you mean? Elder Kira asked. Samantha placed her hand on the stone table. I need to run some tests to be sure. But I think your people, the Anuri, might actually be descendants of humans who left Earth thousands of years ago. The idea seemed crazy, but the more they looked around the temple, the more evidence they found. Parts of the temple design matched ancient Earth structures. Many of the symbols were similar to early human writing systems. Samantha took samples from the walls and floor. She also asked Elder Kira for permission to take a small sample of Anuri blood for testing. Our genetic testing kit on the Discovery isn't designed for non-human DNA, she explained to Eric. But if the Anuri have human origins, we might find some similarities. As they continued to explore the temple, they found a hidden door behind one of the stone carvings. The door led to a small room filled with metal containers. Each container was marked with symbols that none of them could read. These look much more advanced than the rest of the temple, Kevin said, examining one of the containers. The metal doesn't match anything in the main temple? They carefully opened one container. Inside was a small device made of a shiny black material. It had no visible buttons or screens. What is it? Eric asked. I'm not sure, Samantha replied. But it's definitely not made with Anuri technology. It's far too advanced. They took the device and several of the containers back to their ship. As they prepared to return to the space station, they saw another ship approaching the temple. It was from the Empire. We need to hurry, Eric said. I want to know what we found before the Empire gets their hands on it. Back on the space station, Samantha worked in their lab, analyzing the samples and the strange device. After several hours, she called the team together. I have results from the tests, she said. Her face showed a mix of excitement and disbelief. The Anuri DNA, it's human, well, mostly human. There are some differences, mutations that have happened over thousands of years, but the base DNA is definitely human. The room was silent as everyone took in this information. So the Anuri are humans? Lisa asked. Humans who somehow traveled here thousands of years ago? Yes, Samantha said. And there's more. The stone of the temple matches stone found on Earth. The metal in the containers is an alloy that was only theoretical in our science until recently. And the device. She held up the small black object they had found. It contains technology, far beyond what we currently have. I can't even begin to understand how it works. So who were the Sky Guardians? Eric asked. If the Anuri are human descendants, then who helped them and became part of their legends? Other humans, Kevin suggested. Maybe humans with more advanced technology. Humans who found this lost colony and helped them survive. Their discussion was interrupted when Alan Bennett, their security officer, entered the room. The Empire officials are back from the temple, he said. And they're asking for an immediate meeting with us and the Anuri leaders? The meeting took place in a large hall on the space station. Admiral Vora entered with several other Imperial officials. One of them, introduced as Senior Researcher Kathaner, carried a metal case. We have made some interesting discoveries at the temple, Admiral Vora announced. Discoveries that change our understanding of your two species. She nodded to Kathaner, who opened the case. Inside was a device similar to the one the humans had found, but larger. This, Admiral Vora said, is a memory storage device. We found it hidden deep under the temple floor. It contains information about the origins of the Anuri people. The Admiral looked directly at Eric. But I suspect you have already made similar discoveries. You know the truth now, don't you, about the Anuri? And about humanity's true history in the galaxy, Eric met her gaze. We know the Anuri are human descendants. What we don't know is how they got here, or who the Sky Guardians were. Admiral. Vora smiled, but the expression didn't reach her eyes. Then perhaps it's time we shared what the Empire knows about humanity's past. It's quite a fascinating story. Admiral Vora's story left everyone in the room speechless. According to the Empire's records, humans were once one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. Long before the Empire existed, humans had traveled among the stars, creating colonies. On many worlds. Our oldest records, Admiral Vora explained, show that humans had mastered technologies that even the Empire doesn't fully understand today. They could travel vast distances through space almost instantly. They could create and reshape entire worlds. Eric found this hard to believe. If humans were so advanced, what happened? Why did we end up stuck on Earth, thinking we were alone? In the universe until recently? Admiral Vora touched a control on her wrist, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed a map of the galaxy with hundreds of points of light marking different star systems. About 15,000 years ago, all human colonies and ships suddenly lost contact with each other. It was as if the humans simply vanished overnight. Some colonies survived but forgot their origins over time, becoming separate civilizations like the Anuri. Others died out completely. The Empire rose in the power vacuum left by humanity's disappearance, Kathaner added. For thousands of years, we've been searching for clues about what happened to the advanced humans and their technology, Elder Kira spoke up. So our sacred texts were right. The Sky Guardians were humans, but not from Earth. They were from the advanced human civilization. We believe so, Admiral Vora said. A group of the advanced humans must have found this colony after the Great Disappearance. They helped your ancestors survive, but chose not to reveal the full truth about your origins. Eric looked at Kevin and Samantha. This explains so much about what they had found. But something still didn't feel right about the Empire's story. If you've been searching for human technology for thousands of years, Eric said, then finding us here must be very exciting for you. Indeed, Admiral Vora replied with a thin smile. We hope this discovery will lead to cooperation between our peoples. After the meeting, Eric gathered his team in their private room. I don't trust them, Alan Bennett said immediately. They're hiding something. Linda Franklin, their communications specialist, nodded in agreement. While you were at the temple, I was monitoring Imperial communications. They're using encryption, but I caught fragments. They mentioned something called Operation Reclaim several times. I think they're after the advanced human technology, Kevin said. They've probably been looking for it for centuries. Eric paced around the room. We need to be careful. The Empire is powerful, and we're far from home. That night, while most of the station was quiet, Alan set up small cameras in the hallways near the Imperial quarters. He wasn't breaking any rules. The hallways were public areas, but he didn't tell the Empire about the cameras either. The next morning, Alan rushed into Eric's room. Commander, you need to see this. He showed Eric footage from the previous night. It showed Imperial soldiers removing items from the temple artifacts that had been brought to the station. They were taking them to their ship secretly. They're stealing the artifacts, Eric said, anger in his voice. There's more, Alan replied. I caught some of their conversation. He played another clip. Two Imperial officers were talking in low voices. The Admiral wants the underground chamber secured before the humans find out about it, one said. What if they resist? Asked the other, then we remove them. The High Command has authorized all necessary measures. We cannot allow humans to reclaim their lost technology. Eric's face hardened. So that's their real plan. They're afraid of what will happen if humans discover their past. He quickly called the team together and shared what Alan had found. What underground chamber are they talking about? Lisa asked. Kevin pulled up images of the temple on his tablet. There must be another level beneath what we explored. The Anuri text mentioned a sealed area below the main temple, but we didn't find an entrance. The Empire must have found it, Samantha said, or they already knew it was there. Eric made a decision. We need to get back to that temple before the Empire secures whatever is in that underground chamber. Linda, can you find out when they're planning to move? Linda checked her communication logs. Based on their transmission schedule, they're planning something big for tomorrow morning. Then we go tonight, Eric said. We'll take a small team, me, Alan, Samantha, and Kevin. Lisa, you stay here and keep the Empire officials busy. Make them think we're all still on the station. Elder Kira agreed to help them. The Anuri provided a small, fast ship that could take them to the surface without being easily detected. As night fell on the planet, their ship landed a short distance from the temple. They approached carefully, watching for Imperial guards. There, Alan whispered, pointing to the temple entrance. Two Imperial soldiers stood guard. We need a distraction, Eric said. Kevin pulled a small device from his pack. This might help. It's a sonic emitter. I can set it to create sounds away from the temple. He activated the device and tossed it far to the left of the temple. Soon, sounds like footsteps and voices came from that direction. The guards looked at each other, then one went to investigate. One down, Alan said. I can handle the other one. Alan circled around behind the remaining guard. He moved silently until he was close enough to use a stun device. The guard dropped without making a sound. Clear, Alan called softly. The team entered the temple. Using Samantha's notes from their previous visit, they searched for a way to the underground chamber. The floor in the central room, Samantha said. The stone patterns are different from the rest of the temple. There might be a hidden entrance. They examined the floor carefully. Kevin noticed that 7 stones had tiny symbols carved on them, similar to the 7 depressions on the stone table they had found earlier. I think it's a pattern, he said. We need to press these stones in a specific order. Samantha consulted her notes on the Anuri sacred texts. The texts mention a sequence related to their creation story. 7 steps of life, they called it. Using the text as a guide, Kevin pressed the stones in sequence. After the 7th stone, a low rumbling filled the temple. The central section of the floor slowly descended, revealing a stairway leading down into darkness. The underground chamber. Eric breathed. Let's see what the Empire is so desperate to find. As they descended the stairs, lights automatically came on in the passage. The walls were made of a smooth, black material unlike anything in the temple above. At the bottom of the stairs, they found a large round door. It had no visible handle or controls. How do we open it? Alan asked before anyone could answer. A beam of light shot out from the center of the door, scanning each of them. When it reached Eric, it lingered longer. Moving over his entire body, a voice spoke from nowhere in perfect English. Human DNA identified. Access granted. The round door slid open silently, revealing what lay beyond. What they saw inside made them freeze in amazement. My God, whispered Kevin. It's beautiful. The underground chamber was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was a large circular room with walls made of the same smooth black material as the passage. But what took their breath away was what stood in the center, a column of soft blue. Light rose from floor to ceiling. Within the light floated what looked like a large crystal, pulsing with energy. Around the column were 7 pedestals, each holding a small device similar to the one they had found in the temple above. What is this place? Alan whispered. Before anyone could answer, the voice spoke again from nowhere. Welcome, descendants of Earth. This facility has waited 12,483 years for your return. A figure appeared in the blue light next to the crystal. It looked like a man, but his image was transparent, like a hologram. He wore simple white clothes and had a kind face with deep, wise eyes. I am Guardian Protocol 7, an artificial intelligence created to preserve the knowledge of the first human civilization. You may call me 7. Eric stepped forward. What is this place? He asked, repeating Alan's question. This is a nexus point, one of many we established throughout the galaxy, 7 replied. It contains the history, knowledge, and technology of human civilization before the Great Separation. The Great Separation? Kevin asked. Is that when humans disappeared from the galaxy? 7 nodded. Yes, when our civilization reached its peak, we faced a choice. Some wanted to continue advancing our physical technology. Others believed we should focus on advancing our consciousness instead. This disagreement led to the greatest decision in human history. Rather than risk conflict, we chose to separate. Those who wished to continue with physical advancement returned to Earth, removing all evidence of our advanced technology. They chose to start over, to find a new path forward. And the others? Samantha asked. They transferred their consciousness into a non-physical state of being. They exist now in a realm beyond your current understanding. They watch and wait, hoping that physical humanity will one day reach a point where the two paths can join. Again, Eric struggled to take this in. But what about the Anuri? How do they fit into this? The Anuri were a human colony established before the Great Separation, 7 explained. When communication with the rest of humanity ended, they were stranded here. Their technology failed over time. They were dying. A group of humans who had chosen the physical path found them. These humans helped the colony survive, but chose not to give them advanced technology. Instead, they taught them to live simply in harmony with their world. These humans became the Sky Guardians in Anuri legend. Kevin moved closer to one of the pedestals. And these devices? What are they? They are keys to a network that spans the galaxy, 7 said. Each nexus point contains one part of our knowledge. Together they can reactivate all the dormant human technology throughout the stars. Suddenly, Alan's security device beeped. We have company, he warned. Imperial ships are approaching the temple. The hologram of 7 looked concerned. The Veridon Empire. They have searched for our technology for centuries. They fear what would happen if humans reclaimed their heritage. Why would they fear that? Eric asked. Because the Empire was built on the ruins of human civilization, 7 explained. They took our abandoned colonies, our resources. If humanity were to reclaim its place among the stars, the Empire's power would be challenged. Alan checked. His device again? They're landing outside? We have minutes at most. Eric faced 7. What do we do now? We can't let the Empire take this place. You must make a choice, 7 said. I can activate this nexus point, which will send a signal. to all others across the galaxy. Old dormant human technology will awaken. Humanity will have access to its full heritage again. Or you can leave things as they are. The knowledge will remain hidden, waiting for a time when humanity is ready. Eric looked at his team. This isn't just my decision to make. What do you all think? Kevin spoke first. This knowledge belongs to all humans, but are we ready for it? This technology is thousands of years beyond what we have now. The Empire already knows some of it exists, Alan pointed out. If we don't take control of it, they will. Samantha touched one of the pedestals gently. These were made by our ancestors. They wanted us to find them when we were ready. The question is, are we ready now? They heard footsteps coming down the passage outside. Time was running out. Eric made his decision. 7. Can you activate only this nexus point without signaling the others? Yes, 7 replied. This would give you access to the knowledge here, but would not awaken the full network. Do it, Eric said. We need to understand our past before we can decide our future. 7 nodded. The crystal in the column of light began to spin faster, glowing brighter. Download commencing, 7 announced. This nexus point contains historical records, star maps, and basic technological information. It will help you understand who you were and who you might become again. The door to the chamber slid open. Admiral Vora stood there with several Imperial soldiers, all holding weapons. Step away from the controls, she ordered. This facility is now under Imperial authority, but it was too late. The crystal flashed brightly and all the pedestals lit up at once. Download complete, 7 said. Then, addressing Admiral Vora, your weapons cannot harm this facility. It was built to last millennia. Admiral Vora lowered her weapon slightly. You don't understand what you've done, she said to Eric. The balance of power in the galaxy is about to change, Eric finished for her. But not in the way you fear. We haven't activated the full network. We've only accessed the knowledge in this one facility. He stepped toward the Admiral. Humanity has been missing part of its history. Now we can learn about our past, about who we really are. And we're willing to share that knowledge with the Empire. Admiral Vora looked surprised. Share it? Why? Would you do that? Because that's what the best of humanity has always done, Eric replied. We explore, we learn, and we share. We don't need to reclaim our place in the galaxy by force. We can earn it through cooperation. The Admiral was silent for a long moment. Finally, she signaled her soldiers to lower their weapons. The High Command will need to be consulted, she said. This is unprecedented. As they all left the chamber together, 7's hologram watched them go. Just before the door closed, his image smiled slightly. In the months that followed, humans and Yuri and the Empire formed a research council to study the information from the nexus point. The knowledge it contained helped them understand the true history of the galaxy. Eric often thought about the other nexus points out there among the stars, waiting to be found. One day, when humanity was ready, they would seek them out. One day, they might even meet the other branch of humanity that had chosen a different path, but for now, it was enough to know that humans had once led great civilizations across the galaxy, and perhaps with wisdom and patience they would do. So again, as for the Anuri, they were overjoyed to learn their true origins. They were not a lost civilization after all. They were part of a greater human family, spread across the stars. When Elder Kira asked Eric what would happen next, he smiled and pointed to the night sky. We go forward together, he said, and we remember that we are all explorers seeking to understand who we are and what we might become.